Heights has a Prop 39 agreement for co-location at King Junior Elementary School, and also currently has an outstanding balance due to the district for Prop 39 over-allocation fees in excess of $1 million. I'm concerned about the renewal process and the way that's done, that has made no firm commitment to acknowledging or establishing an agreement for the repayment of these fees. I'm also concerned that the renewal of a charter for another 5-year term will make the balance increase as they go forward without confidence that repayment will be made. In other situations, we have had assurances and some memorandums of understanding and even a commitment to make a deposit, a good faith deposit, and to continue some payment process. To my knowledge, we have nothing here. And the monies are going to be repaid, any commitments to that. So I have some pause about approving the pending renewal petition, and I would hope that other board members would have a similar concern, if not a caution. And if Mr. Cole Gutierrez is available, could he give us any updates pertaining to any commitments from New Heights to repay and certainly reduce the over-allocation fees? That's my primary concern.
First and foremost, you're correct. The school has received invoices for a little over $1 million for prior years in terms of over-allocation reimbursements. As the material indicates, the district is still in conversations with this school and several other schools to try to resolve these balances. For New Heights specifically, the school has put in writing in response to the notice the district sent a few different options, including a $5,000 payment, subject to a district commitment, however, for facilities project. Also, recently also noted the potentiality for $50,000 from a grant to also put forward to a project at the site. And the school is open to putting what they call the disputed amount, which I understand from the school is the total amount, into an escrow account. The district senior leadership, including Ms. Riley, is in direct communication with several charter schools trying to work through the pending issues. And if those are not resolved through that process, then there is a dispute process. I would offer to the board, and as I have to our superintendent, that we continue that process to try to resolve these issues. The school is in a financial position to pay the full amount whenever that is finalized in terms of these negotiations and discussions. And so because of that fiscal position, and that we would otherwise renew this school based on the academic achievement, I do hear your concern regarding we don't have the firm commitment at this point, while the school has responded and has its perspective as to the amounts owed. The district has as well and has its perspective. So we're still working through this. I would still recommend to the Board of Education that we keep a close eye on this, renew the charter school, and seek to resolve it, hopefully through the final negotiations. If not, I want to be transparent that there is a dispute resolution process that may have to be undertaken.
There is no agreement.
Yes, sir.
About the actual amount owed. Is that the issue here?
Well, the district's position is as put in writing to the school. That is our position, that they owe the over $1 million. However, the school has responded that they disagree with that amount for various reasons.
There's a fundamental disagreement or kind of conflict and understanding kind of like what whether the formula itself kind of like would be attributed to kind of all students versus on-site students. And so, Amy and I have had multiple discussions leading up to this board meeting about the belief that on her side that they don't owe anything, and the belief on the district side that there is an amount owed under the over-allocation formula. And so again, we've mutually and respectfully agreed to disagree, but we are trying to work these things out. And that's why there is not money in escrow. And I think there is kind of this acknowledgement that we can work our way down either a litigation path or just continue the conversations that we are having.
Well, I still have the concern that there seems to be no time frame as to which, into which we would be adhering with mutuality to resolve this. We're discussing to discuss. We're planning to plan. And at the same time, what we consider to be the due and payable with invoices presented, still not getting a response, not even partially.
It's our understanding that over-allocation penalties are designed to discourage schools from overestimated enrollments in Prop 39 applications and to compensate districts for the cost of housing those pupils on your sites. We did not ever overestimate our enrollment, and you did not ever have to pay the cost of housing our students. That is why we do not think we owe anything. We also want to say that we've met with Megan Riley multiple times. We've had wonderful conversations. And in fact, 15 of the charter leaders or so met with her yesterday. And one of them made the comment, do you think we all made the same mistake, or was there a flaw in the process? And we had on the screen multiple faces like we do today, wonderful charter leaders, sound fiscal management. We all incurred penalties. There's something wrong with the process. We all manage our budgets really well each year, so something is wrong. And I'm just here to say, let's put a spotlight on the right problem and the right question to solve rather than this one. And I think the right problem to solve is the problem with Prop 39 in general, and that's the thing that we want to put our energies towards, because there are a lot of flaws in the process that could be easily corrected through some collective conversations. I wanted to tell you something that I thought of this morning, and you're indulging me because I have the floor. I thought today about what this feels like and if there's a metaphor that you might understand. So imagine a leader in the fire department decides the false alarms are the cause of low morale among firefighters. To solve the problem, she decides to start charging school districts to respond to all fire alarms. And she decides to look backward 3 years, and she asks the districts to provide data on the number of false alarms that have happened, and she instructs her staff to collect all fines from all schools for the past 3 years, because she reads in the regulations that city and county law enforcement agencies may charge the district for services when they respond to false alarms. What the leader doesn't know is that most firefighters don't mind going to the schools to answer the false alarms. It gives them a chance to answer questions, check the system, build rapport with the community. Something that may even prevent future fires and keep students safe. Perhaps if the leader asked a different question, what impacts the morale of firefighters, they would have pursued a different path. And perhaps if they'd spoken directly with the schools, they might have created a plan to reduce fire alarms and at the same time incentivize students and staff to act responsibly, leaving more time for firefighters to visit the schools and proactively build relationships. This is what happened with over-allocation. We have an opportunity here to fix Prop 39, and instead you all just keep asking me, when are you going to pay me for a penalty that I didn't incur? Instead, I've got a lot of great ideas, and all the charter leaders do, about how to fix this problem for you for multiple years in the future. Think big picture. We could do this if we wanted to. That's what I've been trying to share. The proposal we have is to actually look at the money we have that we wanted to invest in a facility. We need a long-term facility solution. That's the only challenge our school faces. We have great scores, great management, great fiscal, great relationships, great culture. We need a good facility long-term. We'd love to use the money we have in our reserves towards that solution. We'd love to invest it on a public site because we don't want to have to build on a private site. We believe we're a public school and we should invest in something that could be good for all kids for a long time. Your authorizer, LAUSD as an authorizer, has always had a great process with us. We've been with you for 15 years. And I have to So I just wanted to put in a word for you all as an authorizer. And I don't know if I'm repeating myself, but you all always give us clear guidelines about what to do. You set it out ahead of the time. You let us know what to do. You support us to comply. You come and visit us to give a report each year, and you make sure that we're working in partnership and nothing is like a gotcha. This was a very different process because all of a sudden you're telling us the arrangements that we had made for the last 8 years on this campus that actually has led to a very positive working relationship on the campus were wrong. And that's a problem for me because and Jose knows, anytime there was a problem, I fixed it. Anytime you asked me to do anything, we did it. And if we had known we were doing something wrong, that would be a jeopardy in terms of money for our kids, we would have changed it. So that's why I'm really not going to just comply and pay without having this conversation about how to improve things and make sure that something like this doesn't happen again.
Mr. Cole Gutierrez, did any of the classrooms at Martin Luther King Jr. Elementary School not get used by that elementary school because they were held up in the allocation of space to this charter school?
Ms. Goldberg, if I might, and board members, I believe I would recommend respectfully, because these are issues that, as obviously there's this discussion that are in dispute. I would not recommend this to go down there. I hear the petitioner's point, and so I would advise that respectfully.
Okay. I would like to say that we have a good working relationship with the school, and they have the space they need. And if you look at an agreement signed by the principal and I in November, you'll see that she lays out complete support for the arrangement we have.
I agree with, CSD's recommendation on this, that, with regard to renewal, if the school has the means to pay back what it owes, then it is the candidate for renewal. And that's what the recommendation is today. I do want to reiterate that I share my colleagues' concerns regarding just the sheer amount that this school owes. And I think that the charter's response today actually heightens my concerns.
Yeah, me too.
The posturing and, given that there are schools that it feels like, at least, and I recognize that there are issues with the process, and I don't think any stakeholder is happy with Prop 39. Like, I think everyone on all sides of this issue universally agrees that it's not, maybe not the best process. It is the law, so that is that. But I would just say, when you have charters that it feels like are seeking a good faith resolution and are engaging productively with us to try to find a solution, and then you have sort of what we hear today, that comparison is stark to me. And so I would hope, sounds like we'll be pursuing this through other means, but I just want to say my concerns for the record.
Yeah, I too want to say that this conversation actually raised more concerns than it solved. I read the last page of tab 22, which outlined all of this, and I sounded to me like we were headed toward a resolution, and now I'm not so sure. With your analogy, makes me think that there isn't a resolution in your point of view. So that makes me a little more concerned. But I am concerned about this notion that somehow or another, because it's not a good process, that maybe I don't have to pay. There are a lot of not good processes. One not good processes is the fact that a charter school gets 100% of the money when a child leaves a school, LAUSD school. We don't take 100% of the expenses when they go, which was why you see schools having 5 days, then 4 days, then 3 days, then 2 days of a nurse, because they keep losing part of their overhead that doesn't get reimbursed. So I'd like to just challenge all of you charter schools listening to me today. Why don't you go to Sacramento with us and ask Sacramento to do something to reimburse LAUSD schools for the fixed costs that we don't have any way of covering when a child leaves if you get 100% of the money. I would hope that you guys will be up there lobbying with that, because at some point that removes the fight. It removes the fight. And instead what you're doing is, without meaning to, and I mean that sincerely, without meaning to, you simply undermine the fiscal stability of this school district to no good end. to no good end for the 400,000 students that remain in our schools. So at some point, if you're talking about going up to Sacramento, why don't we all go up to Sacramento and fix a real problem? Thank you. I'm done.
I agree that we do need to bring more parents back to LAUSD and more money back to LAUSD.
No. You need not to take 100% of our money. You need not to take 100% of our money when you go. That's something you can do something about by going to Sacramento and saying the problem needs to be fixed. But I don't see that your state organization advocating for that at all.